Mojo50 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Yes, the millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now with you. You're listening to, and damn, I hope you're watching the HollowNet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo50 Radio. As always, I am your host, Matthew Holloway. Welcome to a very, very special HollowNet presentation today. Today, it is Saturday, is the 21st of August in the year of our Lord 2021, in the dark winter of the Biden-Harris regime. Even though it's summer outside, it seems to be winter in our prospects. But those seem like they are about to change because of patriots who are rising up and stepping into the breach, like the man we are going to talk to today. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings me a great pride to let you know that we have Teddy Daniels from Pennsylvania joining us on the HollowNet this week, and I really think you're going to enjoy what he has to say. I think it's going to be a fantastic interview. I did a little bit of talking with him beforehand, and I think that this guy has a lot of the right answers. Of course, you know, nobody's going to be perfect. Nobody's going to be 5 by 5. I think we disagree on one or two key points, but it's going to be an incredible interview. So before we get into that, I did want to tell you to head over to our sponsors over at mypillow.com. Use your promo code Mojo50. And because this interview is, going to be kind of long, going to do a twofer here. Also, get over to American Pride Roasters. It's AmericanPrideRoasters.com, the official coffee of Mojo50 Radio. So again, remember, MyPillow.com, use your promo code Mojo50, and American Pride Roasters, AmericanPrideRoasters.com. So now we're going to go ahead and get the whither, twos, and why-fors out of the way, and we are going to get to this interview with Mr. Teddy Daniels from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Stick around, hang in there, we'll be right back. Exciting interview, one of the first interviews for the HollowNet in quite some time. Let me fix my audio here. I don't think I'm quite potted up enough there. Yeah, there we go. Just a little more. Yep, there we go. Golden. All right. So, audio's coming in nice and clear. But I want to show you this quick video. This is Teddy Daniels. Teddy Daniels is running for Congress representing the Scranton area in Pennsylvania, which is, funny enough, where Joe Biden claims his hometown is. So we're going to run this video real quick, and then we are going to jump in to an interview with Teddy Daniels himself, joining the HollowNet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo50 Radio. So check this out. Here we go.
That's better, Teddy. Look at you now. See? If you don't do it our way,
most awesome ad I've ever seen.
We pick who wins and loses around here.
You know what? I'm not doing this fake, phony, elitist BS. It's not me. I don't need you, and I'm not going to let you clowns muscle me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm Teddy Daniels, and I'm running for Congress in Scranton, Pennsylvania. You know, Joe Biden's hometown. I despise swappy, sellout politicians, and that's exactly why I'm running. I'm tired of these elitist suits who have sold out our country, and something needs to be done about it. These establishment sellouts are completely out of touch with real America. They are nothing more than bought and paid for hacks who sell out America and the individual freedoms and liberties of everyday people like you and me. Hell, they'll even eat their own for $1. They don't care about protecting your freedom of speech, your right to bear arms, or even election security. They're more concerned about appeasing the left than they are standing up for us. Time to bring out the big guns. And the big guns are the millions of men and women in this country who feel as though their voices aren't being heard. I'll be your voice. I did my part and served our country in the U.S. Army. I survived gunfights with Taliban terrorists in Afghanistan, and they gave me a Purple Heart. If I was willing to risk my life for freedom when I was deployed overseas, you know I will take the fight to the enemies of this nation in the halls of Congress. We are at a pivotal moment in American history. If we don't act now, we could lose our freedom forever. They used to say socialism was at the door. Well, now it's in the building and coming down the hallway. It's time for we the people to take our country back from corrupt swamp creatures in both parties. I'm in this fight for my family, and I'm in this fight for your family. I've been a fighter my whole life. This is a fight that I won't walk away from, and I've never backed down from anyone or anything in a fight. Send me to Congress so I can be your voice.
Hell yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the HollowNet is proud to bring to you Mr. Teddy Daniels. Hang tight, bringing him on board now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, bringing on Mr. Teddy Daniels, running for our United States House of Representatives. Remember, that's our House of Representatives and not anybody else's. Representing the good people of the Scranton area in Pennsylvania. Here he comes, Mr. Teddy Daniels. Teddy, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, Matt. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing really solid. Arizona is kicking us with the monsoon, but we need the rain, so we're taking it. I know out there in Pennsylvania, you guys have had a pretty wild year, too, and it's nothing at all compared to the madness that is going on in Washington, D.C. right now and elsewhere in the world at the hands of the Biden-Harris regime. Now, we haven't had a chance to talk too much together. I don't know if you know much about me. I've done my homework on you, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen so far. I understand you're a veteran Purple Heart recipient, served in Afghanistan, so I'm certain you've got a lot to say about the absolute fustercluck that's going around out there. Oh, yeah. I choose my words carefully on Mojo 50 Radio. So, first and foremost, can you introduce us to you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your run for Congress. Our audience just watched your introductory video, which has been hailed as one of the best conservative ad campaigns probably of the latter half of the 20th and the beginning of the 21st century. It's a fantastic ad. I don't know who put that together for you, but it's great. But yeah, go ahead and tell us all about you and your run, Teddy.
Well, brother, you know, I ran last cycle. I actually had a 6-man primary. I won the election day vote in the primary. And like many candidates across the country, and especially our president, you know, that morning, mail-in ballots started coming in, and I took second in a competitive 6-man primary. So after that race, I was actually brought on by Vets for Trump. I was their director for the Northeast United States and went around mostly Pennsylvania and the Northeast part of the country, getting people excited and fired up about President Trump. So decided to do another run. And, you know, it comes down to this, Matt, and even my last run and following through into this run. You know, I'm one of the guys that just wanted to be left alone. I have a gorgeous wife. My son, my youngest son, is 4 years old. You know, I did 15 years as a cop, did 4 years active duty. I got banged up in Afghanistan and got medically retired from the military. Started and sold 2 businesses. And I was done. I just time with my family, raise my kids, hang out with my wife, go hunting, ride motorcycles, do all that cool guy stuff that, you know, guys do. And then, you know, and it actually started in 2015, 2016 with, you know, I was a big Trump supporter. Still am a big Trump guy. The basket of deplorables, the dredges of society, everywhere you looked, you know, it was, you were looked down upon, and people would judge you based on your political affiliation. And it's like, you know what? No, it's time to get involved. And I think the most dangerous person in the world is when the person who just wanted to be left alone gets up off the couch and says, you know what? I'm here. I'm here. You kept pushing, you kept prodding, and you just couldn't let me live my life. So now I'm here. And brother, you know, there's a quote out there that I love by Thomas Paine. He actually wrote Common Sense, one of our founding fathers. And in that he said, if trouble must come, let it come in my time, so my children may live in peace. Brother, I fought. I bled. Okay? And now that I'm in this political arena full of snakes and liars and scumbags, I don't want my youngest son to look back at me in 10, 15 years and say, Dad, look where we are as a country. How come nobody stood up and did anything? So it was time to stand up. It was time to get involved.
How old's your youngest, Teddy?
4. You'll love his name, too.
Matthew?
Jack. Nope. Jack Daniels.
Dude.
Jack Daniels.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Listen, I've got 4. I've got my eldest Jack is 7. Then we've got twins who are 4 years old.
Oh, God
Daniel
bless you, bro.
and Nicholas.
Man, you've got your hands full, buddy. God bless you.
And a little girl named Aloria. She's 2. But
how do you have time for this, man?
I don't.
How do you do it?
I work 14, 16 hours a day, but I do it from home. So I'm doing what I love. I feel I'm doing something that is necessary for our country because I also write for several publications.
Very cool.
Throwing metaphorical Molotov cocktails into the system.
That's what needs to be done.
Yes, sir. And nothing compared to what you have accomplished so far, even before hitting Congress. So thank you for your service. Thank you for your service as a policeman. Thank you for your service in our military. I know our audience deeply appreciates that. Mojo 50 is a very libertarian, conservative crowd. Yep. I don't know if you're familiar with the work of the late, great Doc Thompson, or of the work of Ron Phillips or
yes.
Dominic Izzo or any of those folks. But it's a very diverse crowd, ranging from the most Christian conservative to the most just this side of hedonistic libertarian. But we all have the same thing in common. We all have this drive that, as you said, we want to be left alone. We want to be free. We want to live in the very same America that allowed the success that so many of these snowflakes and woke types enjoy today. We want that for our children. And I want that for my 4 children. I know you want that for your children. And it really is very, very encouraging when the reticent man, the hesitant warrior rises up. The person who doesn't want to be that leader for their own glory steps up to the plate, and I really do wish you very, very well.
Thank you.
But we got the background. Let's get into some of the nuts and bolts here. Let's talk about your policies. Let's talk about securing American elections. Let's go from there, because I know you're backing Senator Mastriano's efforts in Pennsylvania quite strongly. So I know our audience would like to hear about that.
Absolutely. So Doug Mastriano was one of the first ones to come out and endorse me. Was also endorsed by Senator Wendy Rogers out of Arizona.
Love Wendy.
I actually spoke at an event with both of them earlier this week. It was actually on OAN, ran it live, and it was the big Audit the Vote rally in Pennsylvania. There were hundreds of people lined up at the doors when I got there. Liz Harrington spoke there. It was just absolutely incredible. The cool thing is afterwards, me and Wendy Rogers, we were going to go to a Hardee's down the road because it was one of the only places that had a dining room open to grab a bite to eat. So we get there, the dining room is closed for renovations. So we went through the drive-through and actually hung out in the parking lot of Hardee's and just talked life, talked politics, talked what's wrong with this country, how we're going to fix it. And let me tell you, she is one of the most down-to-earth, laid-back people I think you'd ever want to meet. But she has a true fire and passion about her. Now, it's funny that you bring this up in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you're seeing all the breaking news that's been happening today out of Pennsylvania. So the Senate Pro Temp, Jake Corman, I talked to Colonel Mastriano last night, and he said, hey, tomorrow I got to come out and tell the American people what's going on. People have been asking me, where are the subpoenas? Where are the subpoenas? He goes, Teddy, I'm being stonewalled. I'm being stonewalled by the rhinos in the Republican Senate. So he came out today, laid it out. Senate leadership retaliated by firing Colonel Mastriano's staff. Let me tell you, I don't think they realize who they picked a fight with, because they picked a fight with the wrong guy. So I contacted Colonel Mastriano. I said, listen, I'm going to be out of state for the first 3 days next week. When I get back, I volunteer. I volunteer for your staff. So we need to stay in the fight and keep this moving forward. So I'll be driving out to Harrisburg, state capital, to help the colonel hands on.
Into the belly of the beast.
It's got to get done. If we don't do it, who will? You see what the rhino lead. You know what? Let me show you something here. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know what the problem has been in the Republican Party?
Lack of a spine.
For the past 20 years? They didn't have one of these.
I call it.
They don't have one of these. It's almost like they've been surgically removed by the GOP.
Damn right.
Okay? That's why we are where we are. No backbone. And the ones that do have backbone, the ones that do have spine, the establishment tries to crush them.
So how are you going to avoid that in the halls of Congress? I mean, this is deep, hard, fast questioning here.
No, it's good.
Ring the bell for an innuendo. How do you beat that, man? The best people with the best intentions, hearts of gold, have strolled into that house and been beaten down and devastated and destroyed by the graft that's available, by the temptation of unrestricted insider trading that you cannot get prosecuted for. You know, you have your missus sign up to pick up 5,000 shares of Pfizer right before COVID-19 hits, and suddenly you're in the green, man. You're made in the shade for the rest of your life. So how do you avoid the temptation?
Here's why. To other people who look for careers in politics, that may be a temptation to them. Okay? And you've got kids, you know, we talked about that.
Yeah.
When my son wakes up in the morning and I give him a hug and a kiss, and when he goes to bed at night and I tuck him in and give him a kiss, and he looks at me and goes, "Good night, Daddy." Brother, there is nothing in the world that can stray me from my focus. Okay? I never wanted to be a politician. I hate politicians. But somebody needs to go in and metaphorically start walking down D.C. and tossing hand grenades. Okay? Donald Trump did it. I don't need to do this. I'm retired. Like I said, I should be out hunting, riding my motorcycle, whatever. You know, if I do one term, they're going to know I was there, because I have no problem blowing the system up. None whatsoever.
What do you ride, Teddy?
Well, I used to build Harleys. Okay? But, you know, after getting banged up and getting up there in age a little bit, I have a custom Indian Chieftain now.
Nice. We lost my pops to colon cancer in 2018. He had not voted in an election ever in his adult life. He was born and raised in Puerto Rico, moved to New Jersey, and the one and only presidential election he voted in his entire life was in 2016, and he voted for Donald Trump.
Well, and my father.
And he wrote a 1973 FLH.
Beautiful.
That he bought in 73.
I lost my dad that same year.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
My dad had lung cancer, throat cancer. It spread. But my dad was a brick and stone mason his whole life. My mom was killed by a drunk driver in 2001.
Oh, God.
So, you know, my father, blue-collar man, rough man, he actually looked and acted like Paul Sr. from American Chopper. Like, when that show first came on TV, I was flipping through the channels. I had to go back because I thought I saw my father on TV. So this man, he hated politicians. He said they would come around every 2 to 4 years and feed a line of BS, okay, just to get your vote and never follow through. My dad loved Donald Trump. And he thought, you know, hey, here's a guy who gets it. Here's a guy who is a true outsider. And his policies and plans and things of that nature. Here's a guy, and whoever thought that a billionaire would step up and be the blue-collar hero, would be the working man's hero.
Yeah, really.
You know, that's the incredible part about it.
So, Ted, how's your soul?
How's my soul?
How's your soul, man?
Strong. Clear.
You know, I don't tend to push too hard on people's personal religious beliefs and their personal relationship with Jesus if they have one. But I always ask, how is your soul? You know, are you walking into this a happy warrior, or are you walking?
I am.
Or
I am.
You know, do you bring reservations with you?
No, there are zero reservations. And let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you two stories real quick. You know, the media's been hitting me, mainstream media. My opponent, we're 16 months out from a general, and my Democrat incumbent opponent is already attacking me. And I told him, I was like, you know, I survived combat in the deadliest place on earth. Nothing you can do to me can scare me, intimidate me, hurt me. All it's going to do is make me dig in and fire back even harder. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen my firefight video from Afghanistan.
Not yet.
Okay. It was viewed 45 million times. It's actually the most viewed combat footage out there. And as I was pinned down, bleeding, and shot up on the side of a mountain, that day, April 25th, 2012, I had my personal talk with God. And, you know, I said, Lord, if you're going to take me, I accept that. I'm okay with it. And brother, everybody's seen the movie Pulp Fiction, where the guy comes out of the door and shoots at him and all the holes in the wall. And they said, this is divine intervention. I experienced something very similar to that. I stood up in this hail of gunfire and started moving my way down the hill. I had a bullet skip off my helmet. I had another one that shot my sunglasses off my face. I had never been at more peace in my life, because I'd given myself to death, saying, if you take me, you take me. I accept that. And, you know, it was God's hand alone that pulled me off that mountain that day. And I should have died. That was, my wife and I still celebrate that as our second birthday. I think that's the day that the new me was born. Take every day, live every day as if it were your last. Don't take anything for granted. And go out and fight the good cause.
That is some powerful testimony, Ted. I mean, I'm over here. I've got legitimate goosebumps.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. To the graveyard of empires, as it is so called, Afghanistan.
It is.
I want to do a break real quick, and then if you can hang with me for 5 to 10 more minutes. I know your schedule's busy. Then if we could talk a bit about what's going on in Afghanistan from the perspective of a man who found God on the side of that mountain. And I'm sure you have a connection with those people, not just our soldiers there, but those people who were clinging to the side of an aircraft.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Teddy Daniels about his experience in Afghanistan and his take on the present situation there as the Taliban has asserted their control and cemented it, while the White House continues to blather on about how they are in constant communication with the Taliban and how they are in control of the situation. That when we return. You're listening to the HollowNet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo 50. Stick around.
Country fell asleep, but they scream woke. We're distracted by vaccines and TV shows, politics, celebrity gossip, popular neat quotes. Black lives, white lives, which lives mean most? We only dedicate one day to remember our fallen soldiers, the men and women who died young. But if you come out the closet as Caitlyn Jenner, you're a hero and you get a whole Pride Month. The most dangerous pandemic's propaganda from these clowns. Only mask that's gonna save us is duct tape on their mouths. Don't speak. We don't need to defund police, need to defund the media who lies through their teeth like Big Pharma doesn't cure you, dog, cause every patient that gets cured is a customer lost. And big oil runs the world. The only wars that get fought are with the countries who have natural resources they want. Heard him claiming if a white man braids his hair and likes rap, he's appropriating culture. But if a white man acts too white, he's white trash. He's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a monster. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors cause they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. How did monkeys become people and people turned into sheep? They put fluoride in the water that's keeping us all asleep. Claim they want what's best for us, I find it hard to believe. Cause they've been selling us cigarettes since we was 18. Fake news, fake woke, distract and divide. You're either right or you're left, or you're black or you're white. Big tech don't need a microchip to hack in your life, cause the phone inside your pocket is a tracking device. And I don't know what I'm more sick of, rappers or Joe Biden looking like he ate 100 Xanax for dinner. Cause censoring the president and kicking him off Twitter is a bigger threat to freedom than foreign ballistic missiles. You don't trust the police or the government, but you want people giving up their right to own a firearm. Why would you be comfortable if police and the government the only people on the planet with the right to buy a gun? White privilege getting amplified to reinforce division. It convinces white people that they're favored by their skin, and black people getting angry cause they're told they're treated different. So the conflict is between us and never with the system. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors cause they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me.
Listening to the HollowNet on Mojo 50 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Coming back on the Facebook side and on the Rumble side as well. Still with us is Teddy Daniels, running for Congress, representing the good people of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and really fighting the good fight to try to save and salvage the Rust Belt for the people who have been overlooked for quite some time. I know, kind of growing up in that area in New Jersey as I did, Teddy, I just remember seeing, the shuttered plants and shuttered factories going over the Raritan River, you see the big carborundum plant, and my dad used to tell me that's where they make the tiles for the space shuttle. And, my dad was a general contractor for almost 4 decades, an electrician as well. And, you just don't see that. And this presidency, this regime, as I refer to it, because I don't acknowledge that Joe Biden was rightfully and constitutionally elected the president of the United States. Well, he presently holds the White House, but I do not acknowledge it specifically because of states like Pennsylvania, where the voting parameters were changed without the consent or the approval of the legislature, which flies directly in the face of the Constitution of the United States.
You're absolutely right. And the sad part about the whole situation is the liberal Supreme Court came in and they wanted to be legislators, and then our communist governor and Secretary of State came in and illegally changed the legislation as well. But the Supreme Court didn't want to hear it. So I think they were just too afraid of the left and what was going to happen.
Texas v. GWMP, probably one of the darkest marks in the history of the Supreme Court of the United States, right alongside Dred Scott. But before the break, we were talking about Afghanistan, and you relayed your testimony on the side of that mountain in Afghanistan, and how you found your peace with the Lord at that point.
Yep.
And I wanted to kind of expound on that and take things to the present state of Afghanistan. Biden got on today in one of his staggering press conferences and was explaining, I believe he took a question from the Associated Press, and the Associated Press asked him, how do you respond to nations that feel that the United States has lost its standing? I'm paraphrasing here a bit. But how do you respond to our allies who see this and who believe this? And he doesn't address the question. He simply refutes it. He says, I'm not hearing that from anybody. Even though you turn on any TV screen and you're hearing it in the Parliament in UK.
Yes, I saw that.
You're hearing it from Canberra in Australia. You're hearing it from Ottawa, even from the feckless government of Justin Trudeau and his quote-unquote liberals, communists. But how does that square, and how do you approach that as a man who spilled blood in that mud, and like I said before the break, likely made connections with the Afghanistani people that are very emotional and spiritual connections when you're fighting alongside people and fighting to protect them?
It's torn off a lot of scabs that took about 10 years to learn to deal with. Mentally, emotionally, and the past week has just been, it's been a rough week for me. I've got a lot of phone calls from friends that served over there, and they're just having a tough time dealing with it. I'm so banged up, I can't run around in the yard and play with my 4-year-old like I wish I could. I've had numerous surgeries, several reconstructive surgeries, and I'm thinking to myself, I gave all this, and in a matter of a week, Taliban just completely retook the country because of a catastrophic, rushed withdrawal plan. And it was a big slap in the face to every single person that served, bled, and every Gold Star family out there that lost somebody. I had a knot in my chest all week, like one of those big knots in your chest, because it's so hard to fathom and comprehend. And I know for the average person, they may not get it. Okay. But when you take ground and you spill blood and you lose American lives, and even the lives of our Afghan, the Afghan National Army, the Afghan local police, the Afghan National Police, that fought side by side with us. And these men fought and died alongside of you. And then for Biden to go on TV and throw them under the bus, that hurt. When he was on vacation and came back and gave a 20-minute press conference said the buck stops here, but then turned around and blamed everybody else.
And went back on vacation.
And then walked out of the room. And it's like, you know what? No, we deserve more than that. We deserve it. You know, how is the military going to recruit and train people now? And how are our allies around the world going to trust the word of the United States when they come in and say, yeah, we'll be there for you?
Our credibility is destroyed.
It's done. It's shot. And Biden is the laughing stock of the world right now.
You have Beijing putting out reports about via the Global Times, their propaganda organ, telling the Taiwanese under no certain terms that America will not fight for you. That unless America has more spine than they did in Vietnam and Afghanistan, they've already drawn the through line from Saigon to Kabul, just as everyone else has, they will not fight for you.
It's rough.
And
it's rough. And
let's look back historically for a sec.
Matt, what's going to happen with this void left in Afghanistan now, with the American forces gone? You have China, Russia, and Iran. That's our new axis of evil. They're going to come in and they're going to fund these terror groups. They're going to train these terror groups in Afghanistan, where we no longer have a presence. It puts United States assets around the world at risk, and at risk for more attacks on U.S. soil. So our 20 years that we spent there, and the lives lost, and you know, the families destroyed, and the guys wounded, and brother, I got off lucky. Okay, there's guys that came back missing limbs, traumatic brain injuries. Okay, for what? For Biden to say to the Taliban, "Hey, we're out. Here you go." Oh, and as a bonus, here's our helicopters, our airplanes, our trucks, and our guns. Just take it all. We're out of here. That's a slap. And you know what? I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Conservative, whatever it is. Take politics out of it. This isn't a right or left issue, Matt. This is a right or wrong issue. Okay? There's Democrats that died over there. There's Libertarians that died over there. How do they feel about it? Are they going to come out and back Biden just because he's a Democrat? That's what needs to stop. It needs to stop. And the difference with me, Matt, I call them out on both sides of the aisle. I did it just now on your show today, talking about the PA Senate president. Yeah. Okay? I don't care what party you're in. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And I think common sense has completely vanished from the political arena.
Teddy, a little bit of hardball. Right or wrong to get out of Afghanistan?
Absolutely right. But we did it the wrong way.
Okay.
Brother, I'm all for the withdrawal.
If you were president of the United States at the time, if you were holding the scepter of almighty power, when do you pull out of Afghanistan?
It would have been done 5 years ago. But here's how I would have done it, okay? So what happened? Well, we all saw what happened. What I would have done, now Kabul Airport only has one runway. I would have left Bagram Air Base, left that operational. Close down all the combat outposts, okay? Keep Bagram Airfield. You have drones there. I would keep, and the air contingency there, intelligence assets, and a ground contingency. It's not a lot of troops. It's not a lot. You could even rotate them through, like the military rotates troops through posts in Korea, Japan, and Germany. Okay? But you have a presence there. And any time the Taliban thought they were going to pop off and do something, now you have an area of operations. You have a base right in their backyard. Say, nope, not going to happen.
So long term, keeping Bagram similar to, say, Ramstein or Guantanamo Bay.
Yes, absolutely.
So as a long-term strategic presence.
Other places around the world, we have not left a conflict and not had a presence there. And like I said, I'm all for the combat withdrawal of the country. Okay? The second that the mission started to turn to nation building is when combat operations should have stopped and we should have got out. The U.S. military should never be used for nation building. That's a State Department function. And the military should be used as a last resort to go in, win, and then come home. Not drug out for years on end like Vietnam and Afghanistan. Shouldn't happen. Look at all the lives that were lost over there, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I would agree, and I think a lot of our audience would agree. I'm not sure on the assessment of keeping Bagram, and this just comes from a strategic mindset. Never having been there, I will put that right out in front. But, we have carrier assets that it's very, very easy to put off the coast of Lahore, for example, and you can project an air presence into Afghanistan and thus a ground presence through Marine Corps Expeditionary Forces. You have Diego Garcia right there in the Indian Ocean, which is one of the largest strategic points for the United States in the world. I'm certain you've been there. You have these strategic assets in that part of the world already, and I would question keeping any permanent military presence in that country. I honestly would. That's my opinion, and carries those caveats.
That's fair enough.
Having not served, but I think what you're saying here bears strategic validity, and it bears much more knowledge of the tactical situation on the ground, where you have to stamp out fires as they occur. And exactly. I think it's a reasonable, and I think it's a nuanced stance that we're not getting from the likes of Mitch McConnell right now, that we're not getting from the likes of so many of the good old boys in the Republican Party in Congress right now, who are picking the hill to die on, that we shouldn't have left Afghanistan, but we should have doubled down on our troop deployments as soon as the Taliban offensive started on May 1st, because that offensive launched the day the deadline of the Doha Agreement passed. And because the Taliban, I don't know how true to their word they would be. These are not the type of people you want to treat with or deal with if you can possibly avoid it.
They are radical Muslim jihadists.
Yes. And I don't know if they would have kept their word to President Trump if he would have been reelected. Well, he was if he would have taken office and if he would have withdrawn fully as of May 1st as he intended to, which... Quick question for you. Do you feel it was logistically possible? Because this has been a big, a massive arguing point for the Biden administration, is that the commitment President Trump made to fully withdraw the United States from Afghanistan by May 1st was not logistically feasible. Do you agree?
The man undid everything else President Trump did. So why is it now that he wants to stick to this? Okay? Mm-hmm. It actually was logistically possible. You get the civilians out, you get our allies out, then you work on getting some of our equipment out. You clear the embassy, okay? The last people that should have left should have been the troops. But we did it all backwards, okay?
In a very panicked fashion.
Yes. And the difference is the Taliban, they feared President Trump. They knew that if they did not allow safe passage for Americans to leave that country, he would literally send them back to the 7th century. Okay?
Mike Pompeo highlighted the deterrence model that they had in place.
Yes. Biden projects weakness. He's not respected. He's a weak president. And this just showed all our other enemies around the globe how weak Joe Biden is.
All right. Thank you, Teddy. Closing thoughts, message for our audience.
You know what? Again, I think men in suits ruin this country, and it takes men in jeans and boots to go bring it back, just like Afghanistan. Men in suits caused it, and men in boots are being forced to go back in there now and fix it. So, not all Republicans are truly Republicans, and remember that as well.
Yes,
okay, but we're getting it done. We're getting it done in 22, and we're gonna continue to fight, brother.
All right. Where can people find you? How can they support you, Teddy?
Brother, go to TeddyDanielsPA.com. Teddy like the bear, Daniels like the whiskey, and PA the state. And you can find me on Twitter at Daniels Congress.
All right, Teddy Daniels, thank you for joining us on the HollowNet. Hope to have you back again, and hope to have you back as the congressman representing Central Pennsylvania. We will go ahead and take a quick break, and then we will come back with a wrap-up for the HollowNet for this week on Mojo 50. Stick around. All right, a couple of small technical hiccups there, but that was a hell of a talk. I mean, I'm excited about this guy's prospects. I think Teddy is going to do very, very well for the people of Pennsylvania if they can get him elected. By all means, you heard his contact information. If you have if you're in Pensy, if you got a means to support him, you got a mind to support him, by all means do it. I think they're doing crucial work with Senator Mastriano. I got some news from Teddy about the shenanigans that are going on there, trying to push for an audit of the Pennsylvania results, and I think that's incredibly important work that absolutely needs to happen. So, Teddy Daniels, check him out, Pennsylvania. But moving straight along, we do have a couple of other things we need to get to. Just a little bit of housekeeping, by the way, because interviews throw off the whole schedule of ads and such. Did want to remind you guys to go over to preparewithmojo50.com, preparewithmojo50.com. Now it is more important than ever to make sure that you are stocked up, to make sure that your family is going to be in a position of safety where, you can be counted on by those you love to take care. So you can do the 4-week emergency food supply. That is $222.75 right now, 2,000 calories a day, 25-year shelf life, 16 varieties, free shipping and handling, limit 3 per household. Get it done. Remember, it's preparedness, not panic. Preparedness, not panic. Go on preparewithmojo50.com to our good friends at My Patriot Supply. You can also do the 3-month emergency food supply. That's $5.97 right now. That's probably the best way to go these days, and the most responsible thing you could do with any of the handouts that the government has given. If you have like the child tax credit thing that's hitting every month, use it. Use it for something responsible. Be ready. Get prepared, because we have some problems coming. And also, because a lot of people have birthdays during the summer, Romika Designs. Go check out RomikaDesigns.com. You can do RomikaDesigns.com/HollowNet. I think that'll still work. HollowNet. Let's see if they got that fixed up yet. I don't know what that's. Or the HollowNet. I gotta see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to touch base with them on this. But just get on Romika.com. RomikaDesigns.com. Use your promo code HollowNet. You'll get 10% off. It's a fantastic gift option. They're laser engravers, and they make some really wonderful gift items. And it's a family company based out of Texas. We know them. We love them. So give them some love. Give them some business, all right? Moving right the hell along. My birthday was this past week. Turned a big 35. Thank you all so much for your kind words and for your birthday wishes. I really do appreciate it. I love hearing from you guys. That was really, really heartening, really lifted my spirits. I know I've been a little down in the dumps lately because of the loss of a good friend. But, hey, it meant a lot to me. And I did put something up there, and I don't want you to get it twisted that I'm some kind of ungrateful hack. But, Facebook keeps blowing me up with this. Do you want to set up a charitable donation for your birthday? Those charitable donations, quote unquote, are BS. They're garbage. They don't actually wind up giving all that much money to the charity of your choice. So I present it as an alternative. Hey, you can become a subscriber. Help a business that you know. That way I can build up the HollowNet. I can help build up Mojo 50 more. I can do all these things, and then I can put money into charitable means, probably get more of a percentage than these morons are getting over at Facebook. Don't give them your money. Don't give them your money. If you're going to do real charitable donations, here's a great group to give to, the Federation. If you haven't done it yet, go over to the Federation. It's run by Russ Haslidge, our buddies over at Odyssey Radio, Odyssey One, I should say. Make sure you help them out. They have a fantastic organization, and they're great people as well. And that is actually a true charity. All joking aside about giving me money. But hey, if you want to subscribe, that does put you over to here. That puts you over to my authory. That gets you on the HollowNet Premium, the HollowNet Premier newsletter. And all my stories go to you automatically every morning. So you get my whole catalog. It's fantastic. I really do enjoy using that service, and it's really the best way to see my work. That way, all the different sites I write for pops right up for you. But real quick, before we get into too far the tail end of the show, there's a new story that came out, and this dovetails very nicely into what Teddy was saying about China and Russia and the Belt and Road Initiative and how China is going to be stepping in. They know Joe Biden is weak, and now they're making their move. This written August 20th for GOP Newsfeed. Check this out. The fallout continues from the Biden-Harris regime's colossal demonstration of weakness and critical lack of will in Afghanistan as the Chinese Communist government, via their propaganda arm, the Global Times, has metaphorically strode up to the American people, jabbed their finger into our chest, challenging boldly that we are too weak-willed to defend Taiwan. This is what I was referring to during the interview. Editorial from Global Times: from what happened in Afghanistan, those in Taiwan should perceive that once a war breaks out in the Straits, not if, but once, they're threatening, the island's defenses will collapse in hours, and the U.S. military won't come to help. As a result, DPP, which is the ruling party in Taiwan, will quickly surrender, the Global Times tweeted. Within the editorial itself, they wrote, once a cross-straits war breaks out, while the mainland seized the island with forces, the U.S. would have a much greater determination than it had for Afghanistan, Syria, and Vietnam if it wants to interfere, the Chinese outlet wrote. They are openly challenging us and openly threatening our allies. This is what Joe Biden has done to the United States. China is not only not afraid of us, they are openly challenging us like the schoolyard bullies they are. They want us to meet them by the flagpole at 3. It's insane. This lines up with heightened rhetoric from China's chairman Xi Jinping, who told the communist nation July 1st, during the 100th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party's founding, that, quote, the Chinese people have never bullied, oppressed, or enslaved the peoples of other cultures. Bullshit! Excuse me. Japan, Tibet, Mongolia. Sorry, I had 3 countries caught in my throat. Xi, according to the remarks translated by the Washington Post, at the same time, the Chinese people will never allow foreign forces to bully, oppress, or enslave us. Anyone who dares try to do that will have their heads bashed bloody against a great wall of steel forged by over 1.4 billion Chinese people. American Military News also reported that Xi had said, all sons and daughters of China, including compatriots on both sides of the Taiwan Strait, must work together and move forward in solidarity, resolutely smashing any Taiwan independence plots. Even though, as we all well know, China is actually West Taiwan. It's not the other way around. Point blank, under the Biden-Harris regime, the collapse of Afghanistan and the restoration of Taliban rule has firmly established that the United States is not a credible deterrent under the rule of a Democrat socialist government. Obama couldn't and wouldn't deter Bashar al-Assad in Syria, his red line was meaningless, nor Vladimir Putin's Russia when he annexed the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine or started funding the revolutionary efforts in the Donbass region. Okay? We are not a credible force for preventing hostile acts under a Democrat socialist government, and the world knows it. They know we are weak right now. That's why we need to send people like Teddy into Congress. That's why we need to start talking about our old favorite saying from days of yore. VOI, baby. Vote out incumbents. All right? Except, save for a select few. I can think of Rand Paul, for example. I can think of Paul Gosar, for example. I think Wendy Rogers probably deserves another crack at it because she's been doing good things here in Arizona as a state senator. But the good old boys in Congress have got to go. We need a new crop, a new freshman class coming in 2022 to retake the House from the skeletal grip of Nancy Pelosi. We need to retake the Senate with new, fresh, conservative faces who will heed and obey the will of the people. It is only then that there is any hope of wresting control of this country away from the Biden-Harris regime and restoring us to our rightful place in the world. And I'm not talking about America World Police. I am talking about that city on a hill where we are free and the world can turn to us for an example and for guidance and for help. Not where we impose our will on other nations, but where we walk hand in hand with our allies. Not where we bow to globalism, but where we lead the world again by example. We bring them with us. We don't put them under us. That's what needs to happen. That's why I have hope going into 2022. It's a slim hope. It's a narrow hope. I refuse to be black-pilled. Even though, God, it's easy. Oh, it's so easy. It is so damn easy just to read this horrible news day after day and say, you know what? Screw it. We're done. It's over. Just country's done. Can't do anything about it. It's so easy for that to happen. It's so easy to succumb to that. But we have to reach down into the depths of our soul and find that hope and hold on to it. And why? It goes back to that conversation Teddy and me had. For our children. For my 4 little ones in that next room. For Teddy's little ones. For your little ones. So that they can grow up in a country that is at least as good, if not better, than that their parents were born into. And I have a real fear of that right now. That my children might not be born, might not grow up into a world that is better than the one I was born into. And that's what we have to fix. All right? So like I said, if you're in Pensy, give a look at Teddy, see if you can support him. Keep a close eye on this audit situation and keep a close eye on the audit here in Arizona. We still haven't gotten the results and things are heating up. But in the meanwhile, keep your head on a swivel. Take care of yourselves, take care of your friends, take care of your family. Surround yourself with people who you can defend and who will defend you and be a source of aid and help for them. Be safe out there, folks. From Phoenix, I'm Matt Holloway. Good night. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. From Phoenix, end transmission.